All of us, we are unique in our own way, and this is what we are talking in you being you. That you have your unique talents, your unique gifts to bring into the world. And even though we are all the time trying to fit in and trying to do things the way that everybody seems to be doing it, we need to go and dig deep into what makes me unique, what makes you unique. And that's what we are offering to life. That's the presence that we can have by standing on the ground that belongs to us, the things that make us us. It's what we want to bring forth, and that's what we are trying to have this conversation about, trying to bring that into being part of our lives.
Yeah, and one of the ways I love to think about this is in traditional indigenous American culture. People are seen as being original medicine. So it's like we are each these really unique blends of being, and there is no one else on the planet that's exactly like us. So we're special. Every one of us is unique, every one of us is one of a kind. And of course we can be similar to the people in our family and the people in our culture of origin and so forth, and yet our own nature is completely different. And we know this in studies of DNA, like there's no DNA that's the same. There's no iris picture. We can take pictures of the eyes, and every single eye on this planet is slightly different. Every fingerprint is slightly different. So every single person is their own special, unique blend. And when we get connected to our own specialness, our own uniqueness, then we can bring that forward and complete creation, because each of us has something to offer life. And irregardless of whether our gift is large or small, in the sense of measuring, we all have something to offer. And when we start to really recognize that, then we can relax into who we are. We stop trying to compete with other people or comparing ourselves to others and judging ourselves for being less than somebody else, or wishing we were like someone else. Like, all we need to do is be ourselves. And this is the most relaxing thing in the world. And this happens naturally, hopefully, as we get older, because we get more comfortable about who we are. And yet, as Brian's saying, what we're aiming to do is encourage conversation about, how to dig into that now. Don't wait till much later to be who you are. Be who you are now.
And it's part of the understanding that, as Cameron was just saying, that we all have our unique gift and our unique talents, but at the same time we are part of the whole. So if we understand ourselves as being part of this interconnected web of energy or things that are going on around the world and the universe, and at the same time we are a specific structure within that, like we have a specific dynamic organization of energy that makes me being me, that makes Cameron being Cameron, that makes you being you, and that interplay of being part of the whole but at the same time being unique, it's what makes this web go, because we all need to bring that which makes us part of the whole for the whole to be complete. Because if we are not in touch with what we are bringing into this life, then what we are doing is we are preventing the world from seeing a part of its manifestation. Like, we all have something to manifest, to show, but if we are not doing that, then we are preventing everyone else from that also, not only us. So it's important to understand that it's more than okay to be yourself. It's perfect to be yourself. It's what you should be doing. You shouldn't be comparing yourself. You shouldn't be trying to fit in into something that you know that you shouldn't. Because once we get there, then things start to flow naturally. That's when you know that you are you, when things are flowing. When you're not doing something that you should be doing, when you're not on your path, things don't fall accordingly. Energy is not flowing. That's all of the things that are blocking our development, our learning process, our growth. It's because we are not doing what we are supposed to be doing when we are trying to be someone else. And it's always interesting because we can feed off each other and from people, because that's also what is showing us. When you see someone that you get inspired by, it's because they are in touch with what makes them them. Because they are on the track of developing their full, complete, perfect self. When we are not doing that, people can see it. People are inspired by some people and not inspired by other people. What's the difference? It may be that those people are following what they are supposed to be following and doing. So it's part of this interplay of understanding the whole and understanding my uniqueness, and understanding that there's something that I'm bringing that everybody wants, that everybody needs, because it's part of what makes everything whole. It's what I'm here to be doing. And as Cameron was saying, if it's not perhaps such a big thing as perhaps being a world leader or a president or prime minister or something like that, that we think that that's big, what's the idea or the problem that we have in the conditioning that perhaps being a gardener at home or being a father or being a mother, that doesn't make anything less. That's already a complete thing. That's perfect. That's perhaps what you should be doing. So understanding the comparison is not a good system. It's what is making this system fall apart. That instead of having that difference, we are all putting our seed. We are all giving, and that's what is making everything go. Because each of us are a vital part of this machine, let's say, and it makes it run. If we are not doing that, then there's always something missing, and then the machine doesn't work. So we need to be actually part of that machine. Each component is essential. You are the most important component, because without you there doing what you're supposed to be doing, it doesn't work. The same as we don't work if we are not in touch with what makes us unique. So I think that it's always so important to try to understand what is it that makes me me? How do I do that? And it's part of a little bit the researching and being curious about what is it that brings me alive? What is it that perhaps I have the skills for, or I have some talent? Do I love doing that? Do I want to be doing that? So a little bit these questions help us be on that track. So if for sure the answer is no, I'm not doing what I like to be doing, I'm not doing something that I have skills for, then perhaps we need to change lanes. Perhaps we need to understand that we are not going where we are supposed to be going. We're not doing what we are supposed to be doing. And then just change lanes. It's as easy as that, because a lot of times we think that change is something that we shouldn't do, that it's hard, and then the truth is that change is the natural way of everything. Everything changes. So if we understand that we can change each moment to adapt and go with what needs to be, then we are closer and closer to where we are supposed to be going. And I think that that's a really important thing that most of us are not in touch, and that's going to make a big change if we can do that for the whole, for the complete universe and the life that we are leading at this moment.
And change, it happens in stages. And sometimes people come to these awarenesses, it's like, oh my God, like, I'm not being me. I'm really acting out of a false self most of the time. And when you come to that awareness, it's okay. You don't have to do a bionic bounce from, you know, this self that you've been running most of your life into this perfect, I'm being authentic self. It doesn't happen like that. So our changes and our shifts happen organically and naturally as we shift and change. Our self shifts and changes with us. So it's okay for us to be in a life that's maybe a little more contracted than we'd wish for, and to start to see that is the first step, and then to know how to come forward and how to bring your gifts and talents to life is the next step. And that's a big part of what we're doing with these programs. Just laying out some frameworks and some language for seeing who we are at heart, that we are part of this interconnected web, this web of life, and as Brian's saying, that we're all a unique part of that web, that we're all making a contribution that makes the whole more perfect and complete. And to bring ourselves forward is something we can all learn to do. Part of what we're doing with our programs is laying out some of those steps, laying them out in stages and laying them out at different levels, because we're all at different levels of our growth and evolution. We're all here as souls, and we're all on a path of growth, and some of us are on a path of growth that's, you know, like the Concorde, boom, roaring through it, and some are moving more slowly, and that's fine. Like, we don't have to compare ourselves because we're each unique, we're each special, and we're just as we need to be this moment, and we will shift and change as our awareness shifts and change. So this is about shifting and opening to a new awareness about how who you are is special, and as you connect with that special quality of your own unique nature, you can bring yourself forward, and that's what we're aiming to do with our program.